Hey, I'm Tony Jones. That's Reverend Russell. This is the hardest question, and I think what's this, ordinary 27?
27, yeah.
Of year A, and more parables in Matthew.
And Matthew outdoes his horror. in this
So here's
one.
the funny thing I think about this parable is like, it's a feel-good parable. Like it's a really feel-good parable until Jesus explains it, or like until he gets to the end of it.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah.
like,
Right.
oh, the wedding guests wouldn't come, so he goes out and he collects everybody up. And I remember like my youth pastor.
In Luke,
it doesn't have the ending,
no,
right?
In Luke, it is like that.
It's all good news. It's
Right.
just like, go out and get the least of these and
Right.
bring them in and
Yeah.
shower them with. So
Right.
I just, like, it would be interesting to preach a first-person sermon.
Yeah.
And you're the guy, like, you're some homeless dude, and maybe you've got leprosy, or you're paraplegic or something, and these servants from this really, really rich guy up on the hill, like, come out, and they go, you're not going to believe this, but you've been invited to this, like, the most food you've ever seen. Yes. And they bring him in, and he's sitting there.
You've been seeing that big house on the hill all your life, and they're inviting you in.
Right, and you go in, and everyone's like, everyone is wide-eyed, and they just, they're passing out. They run out of wedding robes at the door, and so you just sit in and you start eating, and then the king comes and he's like, who the hell are you without a wedding robe? And you're like,
bind him hand
I
and foot.
just got invited into your thing, like.
Right.
And they throw him into the outer darkness. Like, it is a really weird twist.
Well,
and it makes me think
yeah.
that actually Matthew uses the whole parable as Jesus taught it. And Luke was like,
he's
I need to
messing
save a
with
little
it
space
bit.
here.
Well, I think, and it gets even worse, too, because, I mean, we're so trained to think instantly, oh, the king is God, right?
Of course.
Right, but how can the king be God? Because it's even worse than you said. Not only, like, he invites these people and they refuse to come, so he doesn't go, well, then I'll get the, the homeless or whatever. No, he doesn't. He goes and destroys and burns all their cities. So who are the servants finding to bring into the place? The people who are wandering around homeless because they just had their houses burnt down and their villages destroyed by this king. So they're wandering the streets, and they're like, the servants are like, come into the wedding banquet. There's not jubilation in that wedding hall. They are scared to death. Everybody's in there. That psycho king. They're all sitting there, and then the king comes in the room.
Who doesn't have a robe on?
Right.
But you know what's interesting about how it ends, as many are called and few are chosen, is
that is really weird.
It's really weird, and it lines up, if you're a Calvinist, it lines up perfectly, because it says, look, the ways of God are inscrutable.
Right.
Nobody knows who's saved and who's not.
Yeah.
It's purely by fate, luck of the draw, or divine providence, but it has nothing to do with who you are and what you do. You just showed up at the banquet.
Right.
He looks at you. He doesn't like what you're wearing. Out you go.
Right. And not yet, bound hand and foot into the outer darkness where there'll be weeping and gnashing teeth. I'll tell you, the only way that this parable makes sense to me is if the guy without the robe, who stands there speechless and gets bound and tied and thrown into the outer darkness, if that is Jesus. That's the only way this parable works.
And you think that there's a connection between the robe and the fact that Jesus is stripped of his garments, before he's crucified.
And he stands speechless in front of Herod and,
Yeah. All right, well, you could take it that direction.
Otherwise, it's just insane.
I mean, Good Friday isn't that far away in the lectionary. You can go with that. Good luck.
What you're going to do, Good luck.
That's what we got. THQ, thanks for joining in the conversation.